Anyway, welcome to Frostpunk. Frostpunk was reduced by, I think, probably about 75% or something ridiculous like that. I think like a couple of weeks ago or something, because Frostpunk 2 was announced. And it popped up in my recommendeds, and I can't resist buying a game that's on sale. And I broke an age-old habit of mine, and when I bought it, I then actually played it, which is amazing. This was maybe 2 weeks ago, maybe longer actually. I played it for about 4 hours, and this is my impression of it. It is sort of like Banished, only incredibly stressful. Yeah, so you've got all these different scenarios that you can choose from. I've played it was about 4 hours, I think, of the main story. And that's all I've done, and it didn't end very well. So, Frostpunk, you're basically... It's like how do you even explain it? It's like a story-driven survival city builder. Yeah, sure, we'll go with that. We're in a sort of dystopian kind of parallel universe where the world has ended and we are the last people on Earth, and we just have to like try and survive. But yes, you've got all these different scenarios that you can choose from, so I don't know what all of these different ones are. I've only played the main one. I haven't got very far into it at all, because like I say, it's incredibly stressful, and I wasn't very good at it, but we're just going to jump straight into it and see how it goes.
We roam the still, cold world, no horizon in sight. The rulers of old, stripped of pride and glory. It feels as yesterday we were turning the wheels of progress, until the frost stopped it all, suddenly, without a warning. When tides had changed, they changed for all of us, no matter wealth or class. We've lost our world to snow. And with it, our last traces of humanity. We bid farewell to plenty, and for those who remained came the time to adapt. We decided to leave our homes and head north. We roamed for weeks, maybe months, leaving behind all the things we once believed had made us. It was hope that pushed us forward. Slowly, step by step. We knew the cost of our journey, and we paid the price 100 times. Finally, the time has come to build the last city on Earth.
A new home. We fled from London and crossed the sea to reach the frozen north. On the way, our convoy was hit by a blizzard and scattered. A handful of us managed to reach the site of this generator, only to find it frozen solid and abandoned. Why is no one here? Did any of our people survive the blizzard? Are there any others out there? Whatever we do, we should expect the worst now that the world as we know it has crumbled. Yeah, so it's a bit vague on what's actually happened. There's been some kind of catastrophe, and it's resulted in this sort of ice age kind of enveloping everything. It may just be a natural disaster, or there may have been political things going on at the same time, or it might be a global warming thing, it might be a nuclear winter. We have absolutely no idea. I don't think it's a nuclear winter. I think there would be more evidence of that. I tell you something else, another thing I don't quite understand. It says here, we fled from London and crossed the sea to reach the frozen north. In the event of like an ice age, which I'm assuming is what has happened, and you're in London, why on earth would you go north? Like, you would go south, surely. Unless there's something like horrific going on in the south that they've escaped, if there's like some kind of mass war going on down there or something. Although we've kind of established that like everybody else is dead and we're the last city, so I don't, like, why would you... You're already pretty far north. Why would you go further north where it's just going to be colder? I wonder where they've ended up as well, because if they've crossed the sea, so they were in London and they went north, so that would be like Scotland they would end up in. And then if you cross the sea from the north of Scotland, you're going to end up in like Norway. Which seems like the very last place you would want to be in the event of a global ice age. You know what? Never mind. Let's just go. Fight the cold. We need to get the generator working. It provides heat and power to other buildings. Without it, we'll freeze to death. Stockpile some coal and start the generator. Okay, this is the bit where we discover I do not remember anything from when I was playing a couple of weeks ago. So, stockpile some coal and turn the generator on. Yes, so there are little pockets of stuff around here. So that's wood crates that we will be able to get wood from. That's steel wreckage that we'll be able to get steel from. And there should be some coal, hopefully. Yeah, so there's a coal pile over there. Right, so, okay, so I said at the beginning that it's like a little bit like Banished, and I'm not entirely wrong, because we start off here, and we've got, you can see there, we've got 80 homeless people, because I haven't built any homes, which is exactly how Banished starts. And if we look down here, we've got 50, yes, we've got 80 people in total, and that's saying 65 out of 80, because that's how many people can work. And that's all I'm interested in, because I need workers. Anybody who can't work is basically just a drain on, you know, the city, because it's quite a harsh game when it comes to things like that. So I've got 50 workers, I've got 15 engineers who are just sort of like better workers, and then I've got 15 children who at the minute can't work, but in the future if I decide I need more workers, I might just, you know, send them down the coal mines or something like that, because it's that kind of game. It's the sort of game that just slowly turns you into a monster the more you play it. And then up here we've got, that's how much coal we've got. So we've got 0 coal, we've got 30 wood, and we've got 10 steel, and we've got 1 steam core. We've got 100 raw food, but we need to turn that raw food into cooked food, otherwise they'll eat it raw and it might make them ill. But our priority is coal, so if we select this coal pile, and then we assign some workers to it, so I can assign 15 just ordinary workers who will now go and mine that coal pile and get us some coal. That is what they are going to do. But I also need to build some homes for everybody. At the minute we can only build tents. Later on we will hopefully be able to build more things. We can also build a medical post, we can build a cook house, that would be very useful. A gathering post, a workshop. Right, now if we build a gathering post next to the coal, they'll mine it a bit more efficiently, but I think my priority is houses, but I've only got 30 wood. So I should probably also assign some people to a nice wood pile so that I can get some wood. And then I'll assign some people over here to the steel pile so that I can get some steel. Hopefully this should work. Because this isn't what I did last time, and last time it all went a bit wrong. This is only my second time playing the game. Anyway, we'll get some tents constructed. Nice and close to the generator, because when we get it powered up, the generator will produce heat. So that's kind of a good thing. But I also want other things close to the generator as well, because there are some things that, like, if the temperature gets below a certain level, they'll stop working. So there's other things that I need close to the generator as well. I need a medical post, but I'll need more wood for that. And then I need a cook house to cook the food, but I'll also need a hunter's hut to, like, actually go out and get food, because we don't want to run out of food, because that would be bad. There's all my little workers cutting a path through the snow. And also very much like Banished, if you click on them, you can actually see, like, their names and stuff like that, and see he's got no home, he's working in steel wreckage, collecting steel. He's not at risk of falling ill, apparently, which is frankly incredible considering his current state. But there we go. They're a hardy bunch, are the citizens. They're a hardy bunch. I mean, they have to be to have made it this far, I suppose. If you've managed to make it from London to frigging Norway, or wherever we are, in the middle of an ice age, you are definitely hardy. We've also got the tutorials up here that I can quite helpfully access if I get stuck, but they'll unlock as we go through the game. So at the minute I've just got stuff about resources and stuff like that, which I remember from the first time I played. Right, so we've built some tents, but We've still got 60 homeless people, but there's other things I want to prioritise. So I want to get the cook house built. I also want to get a medical post built, because that was what really screwed me over the last time, was the fact that I just had so many sick people who couldn't work and we just couldn't keep on top of it. So if I get a medical post built nice and sharpish, and then I'll get a cookhouse built, and once I've got both of them nice and close to the generator, because this is the problem, you'll find that like if places get really cold, they stop working, and medical centres are one of them. If the medical centre gets cold, it stops working. So it's better that it be near the generator. And you can see up here, so we're on day 1, and this is our little calendar. And it's like our little weather forecast. And you can see we've got day 2, day 3, day 4. At day 4, the temperature will drop significantly, which is 2 levels, which I believe means it'll go down to minus 60? I think each level is like 20 degrees Celsius, I think. So that's the current temperature. We're at minus 20. I think it'll go down to minus 60, I think. So yeah, that'll be exciting. We should probably get the generator working by then. But you can see we've got 136 coal. So we'll be able to get the generator turned on soonish, but I'm going to wait until night time, because that's when it gets colder. Okay, so now we've got our medical post, and the medical post has to be staffed by engineers. So as much as they're called engineers, I think it really just means that they're like better educated than everybody else or something like that, because there's certain jobs that only they can do, but it doesn't necessarily relate to engineering, if you see what I mean. So we'll get 5 engineers working in the medical post, just in case anybody falls ill. And then I want to get a cookhouse built so that we can cook some food. And then I'll put tents all around there, and then I'll get a hunter's cabin place thing. Okay, so the work day has ended because we're at 6 o'clock. So there's sort of like a schedule. If we just pause it briefly. Yeah, there's sort of like a schedule where I think there is somewhere I can see it. Do they wake up at 6? They wake up at 6. They have free time until 8, but during free time what they do is that they help with anything that needs building, so it's not really free time. And then from 8 they go to work, to whatever job they're assigned. If they're not assigned a job, then they just sort of hang around, or they also help with building. And then they work until 6. And then they've got free time, which again is just helping with building. And then I think like they go to bed at something like midnight or something ridiculous like that. And they don't have weekends or anything like that. There's no public holidays, there's no days off, so it's a little bit harsh. But if you go to the Book of Laws and you can establish new laws, you can bring in things like emergency shift, which is where, yes, you can force the workers in any facility to work for the next 24 hours. Which, the first time you see that, you think, that's monstrous, I'm never going to do that. And then, like, a week later in game, you find yourself with, like, no coal, and you've got no coal to, like, run the generator, and people are freezing to death, and you're like, sorry guys, but I kind of need you to work through the night mining coal for me. You know, you've also got things like child labour. So children can work in safe workplaces. You've got nicer ones, like children will be safer if they stay in child shelters during the day and they won't cause any mischief, so you can create nice child shelters for them. But this is the kind of game where practicality often overrides sort of being nice, so you're more likely to need to send your children like to work because you don't have enough workers than you are going to have like spare resources to build nice child shelters for them, which I'm assuming adults will have to work in as well because they'll need people to look after them. So yeah, it's the kind of game where it's sort of like, oh, I could be nice to the children, but to be honest, I just need to send them down the mines, kind of a thing. But down here you can see we've got discontent and we've got hope. Discontent is currently like at that level because people have a lack of shelter. But we have quite a lot of hope because we've found this nice generator and we're going to build a city and stuff like that. But as things go on, things will start to affect that. And some of them are things that you can do things about, like, you know, if you're not looking after them well enough, if you don't have enough food, if you don't have enough shelter, if it's too cold, things like that. Discontent will rise and hope will fall. But there is a bit of a storyline to the game, and certain things will happen at certain points that you have absolutely no control over, and it will just make hope drop to nothing and discontent rise, and then things happen like different political parties start emerging and people start splitting off and there are riots and protests and you know, people start refusing to work, so then the coal doesn't come in, so the generator shuts down and everybody freezes to death, and then people get even more discontent, and it just spirals out of control. But that's all exciting things to look forward to do in the future. For now, we'll just get time moving on again. Something's popped up here. The heating is off. The generator is off. People are afraid they'll freeze to death in their sleep if you don't at least turn it on for the night. Of course I will! The only reason I hadn't was because I was too busy talking and had forgotten to do it. So, we just quickly pause the game. So, as you go through, we'll eventually earn the ability to be able to start researching things once we build like a research post or whatever it is. And we'll be able to upgrade the generator to higher levels so that it'll produce more heat. And you can also produce it so that like the heat expands out further. So it can be warmer and it can reach further. But for now we've only got steam level 1, and it'll cost us 6 coal to turn on. So there it's turned on, and now is it costing us... I'm sure it costs you like a certain amount of coal per hour or something like that. I don't know, hang on a minute, we'll get time going. So there we go. There's it turning on, producing nice heat. You can see it melting the snow and everything, and there's the range that it's extending out to. So it's now consuming coal. You can see coal just ticking down. There we go, it's ticking down like about 1 every 2 seconds or something like that. 3 seconds maybe. And it's heating this area so people will be nice and toasty warm in their little tents. So we may have 40 people without homes, but at least they can stand next to a nice warm generator. Wait, the game wants to tell me about illness and healthcare. So, cold homes or workplaces cause people to get sick. Without proper care, they can become gravely ill and might die. The sick can be treated in medical posts, but the gravely ill need an infirmary to be treated. Until you build one, you can save their lives by signing one of 2 laws. The radical treatment law allows you to treat the gravely ill in medical posts, but some of them will be left as amputees. The sustain life law allows you to keep the gravely ill alive, but untreated in medical posts or care houses indefinitely, so at that point they're just like a drain on the city. Mind you, if they're amputees, I think they're a drain on the city as well. But yeah, these are the kind of decisions that the game is going to force you into making as time goes on. And at the minute, we're kind of alright. We've got, what? We've got 4 people being treated. So we've got 4 ill people. That's possibly because they don't have any tents to sleep in, so they're probably a bit cold. What's the temperature in the tents? The temperature in the tents is comfortable, so long as they're in a tent, they should be fine. The city wakes up at 6 a.m. People have some free time until the work shift starts at 8 a.m. unless there's construction work to do. After they finish their shift at 6 o'clock, they're free to help with construction work again, which can keep them well up past midnight. Fucking hell. You can extend the 10-hour work shift if you sign certain laws. I just want you to know, one of the reasons why there was a bit of like a break in the recordings, like I haven't recorded a Resident Evil in ages, and there was a bit of a break with Banished, although I'm back to recording that again. But one of the reasons was because my boss put me in for a 60-hour week at work, doing like 10-hour shifts 6 days in a row, and by Wednesday I had a complete meltdown. I mean, there was other stuff going on as well. It wasn't the only reason I had a meltdown. So yeah, imagining getting up at 6 o'clock in the morning, helping with construction work, then working a 10-hour shift, then helping with construction work, then going to bed at midnight, then getting up at 6 o'clock in the morning. Yeah, these are a hardy bunch, these people. The people in this city are much tougher than I am. Both physically and mentally, I would say. I don't think in the event of like an apocalypse, I don't think I would be one of the survivors, to be honest. I don't think I have that mindset. I think I would be the one just kind of going, you know what, the world's over, man. Like, why put yourself through it? Like, just accept it. Steel wreckage depleted. What, already? Okay, it didn't take them long to get through that steel. Luckily, we don't need much steel at the minute, so what I am going to do is I'm going to assign people to these crates. So we can get more wood coming in, or should I go for coal? No, we'll go for the crates, because the coal, we're treading water on coal at the minute. In fact, we're even coming in at a profit. Whereas, like, wood is going to become a real problem because you really need to build things very quickly. I remember wood being quite a problem. I'm going to need to build some tents outside the heat zone. That might end up being a bit of an issue, but never mind. Oh yes, first things first, I need to build a street. Because for some reason, like, the world has ended and we're having to live on, like, very, very small rations and work ridiculous shifts and all of this kind of stuff. And we can handle all of that, but we can't work out how to get into a building if there isn't a street in front of it. Like, if we just leave that as just, like, plain ice, people are like, no, absolutely not. I am not going into that tent if you don't put a street in front of it. Oh, we've completed our objective. What was our objective? I think our objective was to stockpile 200 coal. Right, the generator hums with reassuring warmth, but we shouldn't take it for granted. If the generator goes down, the city dies. Be mindful of coal reserves. Now, food. There'll be no city if we starve to death. Secure a way to provide raw food and build a cookhouse to prepare meals. Way ahead of your game. Way ahead of you. You see, the first time I played this, I was waiting for the game to prompt me before I did any of this. So I just let the people starve for a while until I had coal reserves. But no, I'm clever now. I know things. Secure a raw food supply. Build a hunter's hut or a hothouse. Yes, I need to build a hunter's hut. I can't build a hothouse yet, can I? No, I think I need to... like, research that. And for that, I need to build a workshop. I wonder if it's worth me building a workshop now, because the game won't prompt me to do that for a while. I'll tell you what, I'll prioritise the hunter's hut. And the extra tents, if we can afford that. We can't right now. Oh, apparently I've constructed that hunter's hut now. Right, with basic resources secured for now, we can try to rescue the people we left behind. Build a beacon, scout Frostland, and save as many survivors from our expedition as possible. You'll need a workshop to design plans for more advanced buildings. Okie dokie. Now, I don't entirely know whether there's a time limit on this. Like, if you do it quickly, you're going to find more survivors. I don't quite know whether that's a thing or not, but we'll get on it as quickly as we can anyway, because I remember the first time I played this, it took me a long time to get to this point because I was still figuring everything out, and I was just sort of like, it took me ages to get enough coal stockpile to complete that first objective, and then it wasn't until after that that I started getting like food in. So I mean, I feel like I'm doing a bit better this time. Right, so we've got people working in the hunter's hut now. Yes, the hunters work through the night, so they work from 6 o'clock at night till 6 o'clock in the morning, and then presumably sleep, I would hope. That's a bloody 12-hour shift they're doing, isn't it? Flipping heck, man. I mean, I've done 12-hour shifts, but, like, they're not fun. They're not fun. I definitely wouldn't want to do them at, like, bloody night shift. Yeah, hunters leave the city to hunt in Frostland for food. They work from 6 PM until 6 AM. Initially, they bring up to 15 units of raw food from each hunt. Research upgrades significantly increase hunt yield. Yeah, so it ain't much. They're going to bring back 15 raw food every night. Really, I need more hunters' huts, but I don't have the people to put in them. I've got 5 workers and I've got 5 engineers, but I'm going to need them for other things, so like I can't build another hunter's hut. Also, I don't know whether I've played it long enough to work this out yet, but you know how in Banished the children grow up and then new children are born? That doesn't seem to happen here. You get more people from going out and like rescuing survivors, like scouting the wilderness and rescuing survivors. That's how you bring more people in. There doesn't seem to be like children being born or anything like that, and the children don't seem to grow up. But we are like going through like one day at a time, so time is moving a lot more slowly, whereas in Banished you go through like, you know, 7 years in 10 minutes kind of thing. William Ludsthrop says, "We're doing fine, all things considered." Yeah, occasionally you just get like little things that people just to sort of gauge the sort of mood of the town. Little things will pop up at the start of each day of people just like wake up and go, "Oh, I think we're doing all right actually." Okay, so it's a new day. Everybody's gone back to work. But tomorrow you can see the temperature is set to drop by 2 levels. So that's like really, really cold. So I want to get as much done today as humanly possible. So if I build some more tents, so we won't have any homeless people, but they're not in the ring of the generator. You can see this is how far the generator's heat is extending. So the people living in these tents here, it's highly possible they will just freeze to death. But we're not going to worry about that too much, because right at this moment there's absolutely nothing I can do about it. But if I build a nice little street like around like there, build a little street around to there, and then I will be able to construct, when they get some more wood, I will be able to construct a workshop. And once I construct a workshop, we should hopefully be able to start like researching things that will help us, like, you know, keep people warm and stop them from dying of frostbite and things like that. One good thing is oh, hang on, never mind. I was going to say, one good thing is that all of the patients in the hospital have recovered, so we don't have any sick people now, but we have a sick person. We have Bernice Leveson. Wait, what? Very low risk of falling ill? If you're at a very low risk of falling ill, why are you going to be treated? Biggest concern, lack of shelter, so she doesn't have a house. She's going to treatment. She has no home. She has no workplace and family. She is alone in this world. Oh, Bernice, darling. Sweetheart, I know how you feel. Yeah, it's a very grim game with things like that. I mean, you could just say she has no family, but no, you have to say she is alone in this world. I mean, she's not. You're in a city full of people, man. We're all going to pull together. We're going to get through this. We're going to work as a team. It's going to be fine. Right, have they got enough bloody wood yet? Yes, they have. Right, so we're going to build a workhouse there. Because the workhouse doesn't need to stay warm in order to keep working, does it? No. I think if it's got that little, you see the little heat symbol there, I think that means that it needs to stay warm, and if it's not, it'll stop working. Which is kind of funny with the medical post, because, I mean, I sort of understand that they need it to be warm for the patients, but, like, if it's not warm, they decide to just kick the patients out, which is like... I mean, I suppose it sort of makes sense, because maybe they're actually better off being closer to the generator outside of the medical post or something, but I don't know. How are you doing, Bernice? Are you all right? She's got a home now, so that's good. And the temperature in her home is comfortable, which is interesting, because the temperature in the new tents I've just built is only livable. So I think somebody must have moved out of their nice warm tents to go and live in the colder tents to give her a nice warm tent. That's very sweet. Oh, that's really sweet. See, you're not alone, Bernice. We're not alone. You have people who care about you. Right, use the workshop to develop new buildings and improvements. Is that all you're going to tell me about it? I think that's all you're going to tell me about it. Yes, so our workshop is now completed. So if we get 5 engineers working in it... oh my god, yes, okay, so we've got a whole technology tree. It's one of those games. It's a game that has a technology tree. I can't tell you how much I love a technology tree, but I also kind of hate a technology tree because I'm really bad at making decisions. Right, so in order to progress the game, we need to build a beacon in order to send out scouts to find things, and that sort of progresses the story, but it also helps us, like, gather resources and things like that. However, I feel like maybe there are other things that are of slight more importance to us. So we can get a steam hub. When powered by the generator, these contraptions create additional smaller heat zones around them. Each unmodified steam hub consumes 3 coal per hour. In my last playthrough, I completely forgot that they existed and never built any, and everybody basically just froze to death. So to be honest, I feel like that would be a good starting point. We also have heaters. Allows us to use heaters to heat workplaces during work hours. Each heater raises a workplace's temperature by 1 level and consumes 1 coal per hour when running, which is useful for buildings that are, like, outside the generator zone. But I feel like I want to build a steam hub first, especially since the temperature's about to drop and we've got tents that are outside the heat zone. So I want to research that before I do anything. It's going to take them 7 hours to research it, mind. I mean, that'll be in-game hours. And they've stopped working now, so it's not going to get done until tomorrow, which is after the temperature drops. But, you know, it's fine. We're going to do the best we can. But, I mean, like, we're already out of workers, aren't we? I've got 20 out of... Wait, hang on a minute. How have I got 20 unemployed workers? Has one of the things been depleted? I think one of the wood things has been depleted. Okay, so I've got some free workers. Or is it the coal that's been depleted? Oh, it's the coal that's been depleted. Oh, shit. Well, that's not good. Oh, I never got around to building a gatherer's hut, did I? Okay, so if we get 15 workers working on the coal, because we are going to need coal. Oh, there's our little hunters forging their way through the snow to go and get us measly 15 things of food. We're going to need to do something about that fairly sharpish, because you can see where food rations are going down quite significantly, and they're only bringing in 15 raw food each day. If that, they might not even bring in that much. Yeah, that's just telling us that the temperature's going to change pretty soon. I am aware that the temperature's going to change. You can see it there, ticking closer and closer. It's going to drop by 2 bloody levels. Then it's going to rise by 1 level. But, like, at the minute, it's quite balmy for this game. It's quite nice and warm at 20 degrees. From now onwards, we will not see the temperature that high for very long, I'll be honest. If I do that, I can see exactly how warm everywhere is, which is nice. So those tents are looking a bit chilly, to be honest. That one's comfortable, and that one's comfortable. I don't quite know how. Maybe they're better insulated or something. Frances Litchfield, Edith Welby, Aura Horton, Helen Cook, Clarence Cranford, William Payne, Charlotte Ford, Robert Hammer, Dorothy Chelsea, and Margaret St. Ledger. That reads like the cast list of a 1970s British sitcom. Oh my god, I have a lot of people who are terminally ill. Recovery time 2 days. What, from being terminally ill? Fuck off, alright? There's only so much I could do. Anyway, I'm gonna stop trying to explain whatever I'm trying to explain now because I don't think I'm doing a very good job at it.